I think I'm going to turn it over to Rita Maggard and David Turner, our guest teacher in residence, and let them do their presentation on Be Artful.
Okay, thank you, Diana.
So we will turn out the lights now, or leave?
Yet,
Not
until we
yet.
get
Okay.
until we do the video.
Oh, okay.
Not yet.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you can see it better. Let's try it.
Yeah.
Let's turn the lights out.
Lights out.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't really know that we were going to put a photograph up here this morning, and Dave found it and said, let's use that. And I said, well, that's great. And thank you all for being here. I'm just so pleased that I'm getting to share with you a little bit about what's been going on for the last 30 years. And I realize that because this photograph is part of a writing called In the Morning, Lord. And this was written 30 years ago from this little book called In the Growing Places. I meet you here in the morning, Lord, when all is quiet. And the only one needing me is you. I meet you in the morning, Lord. It's my favorite time of day. I sit, I listen, I think, I pray. When my mind is not cluttered with the sights and sounds that come with the sun, I meet you in the morning, Lord. And like two lovers, we rendezvous, each with our gifts for the other, each with the hope of a life made new. So it was fun to dig back into the growing places and find In the Morning, Lord. It seems like whenever I get a chance to talk about my art or readings or the books, there's always a little miracle involved. And I think God sends that to me just to help me and give me courage to speak to you. And what I realized as I prepared for this today was there was another little miracle happening. And that was because last week we were introduced to the word Shabbat. You probably already know that word and are familiar with it, but it's a Jewish word that means to rest, to be in God's presence. And that's really so much of what all my writing is all about, is being in Shabbat and being in the presence of God. And that's today the little miracle. I'll show you the artwork that goes with the little miracle. It says, watch for the little miracles of your day as they unfold. So it unfolded. And here's the nautilus shell with each of the folds opening up. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit, is about how words and art come together, how one enhances the other. One makes it clearer. If the words complement the art and the art completes the word, then I've been the artist and writer that God has called me to be. And I think each of us would wonder, well, okay, what does being artful mean? And what being artful really means was said, I think, the best by Francis Schaeffer, who is a theologian. And he wrote in this tiny little book, this tiny little treasure, he says, no work of art is more important than the Christian's own life. And every Christian is called upon to be an artist in that sense. He may have no gifts for writing, no gifts for composing or singing, but each has his own gift of creativity in terms of the way he lives his life. So if nothing else was said or nothing else was remembered, it's the way you live your life that you are being artful. How many times do you pick up the phone or write someone a note or help someone or be in someone's life where you are giving to them? And that's the artful way of living. What we all want to adhere to and grow in is what we give away. And that's how we are being artful.
That's a beautiful image. And to think of our lives as a work of art that we're creating. I've never thought of that.
It's
beautiful.
Thank you. That is really true. Your life is your work of art. So drop all the anxiety of whether you're an artist or not. Only just let your life be artful. And I went back into thinking of Shabbat and drawing near to God, as it says in James, to draw near to God and he will draw near to you. There's several writings in the Be Artful book that have to do with being quiet, slowing down, having time, making time. So I think I'll just read a couple of them for you. First of all, the title is Be Artful. And the meaning of it is to be artful at whatever you do, because the world is altered by art. Stop and think about it. How much art in history, how much art is there all over the world? And it really does change the world. So be artful at whatever you do, whether you're studying, whether you're in school, whether you're at work, whether you are at home, wherever you are, you're being artful just by living your life. So how about this one? In silence. In silence, answers are found. Peace is felt. Creativity is sparked. And energy is renewed. In silence, thoughts are released and the mind is cleared. In silence, gentleness is restored and self-worth established. The body is warmed and the hearing is keened in silence. In silence, we are one with God. And how about this one? Slow down. Let yourself slow down today. Hear birds sing and watch them play. Read a good book and nap away. Let yourself slow down today. Listen and learn and ponder and pray. Gift yourself a wonderful day. We talked about slowing down last week with Shabbat. That word just keeps coming back over and over again. And continuing with the theme of drawing near to God and being quiet and using Shabbat and enjoying Shabbat. When I had 3 little boys running around the house going crazy and I was throwing them outside, go play, trying to calm things down a little bit or just to find a minute to myself, this came about with a butterfly here. I find this one in All to Herself. Finding a time that's mine is truly a selfish act, but it's the necessary focus on self that makes me fit for anyone else. I could not be fit for those children until I had found a way to be quiet myself, slow myself down, and find a time that's mine. So those are just a few little readings from some of the poetry books that have been percolating since 1996. I went back and realized that it's so long ago the book's covers faded. It's been around a while, but this one brought me into the world of writing and drawing, and Providence House Publishers helped me with this. It was just a real wild story because I went to the publisher and I actually at that time I was doing a lot of flower arranging. And I thought, I've got to have a book. I've got to have something to go with me. I need some marketing skills. And so I went to a guy named Andy Miller, who was the publisher of Providence House Publishers. And I laid out this presentation of how I wanted to do what I called a flower arranging recipe book. Because Daisy King, I don't know if some of you all know her, she had suggested I go to this Andy Miller and talk to him about a book. So Andy was very nice, and he sat there and he listened. And
Rita, I think Andy Miller used to be a member of this church.
Very well could have been. Yeah. Well, he was a great publisher, and his company was called Providence House Publishers. So anyway, he very kindly listened to my presentation, and then he looked at me and he says, Rita, what do you really want to do? And I thought I was explaining that. No, what I really wanted to do was to put my art and my writings together. He said, well, you go home, you put it together, you show me what you're trying to do, and then bring it back. So that's exactly what I did. And he got his group together at the publishers and made the cover and the artwork inside, and it was a joy to have that. But also, as I was working on what am I going to say to you all, how am I going to explain Be Artful? What is it all about? I was reading a book. I'm a big reader. This book is called The Inner Life of the Artist, and it's written by a lady named Juliet Aristides, and I just love that name. Would you love to have a name like Aristides? Well, Juliet Aristides is a writer and an artist, and in her book, she introduced me to a word, and I'm wondering if any of you all have ever heard it before or know about it. The word is ekphrasis. I wrote it on the board. Can you all see it in the back there, this word ekphrasis? I'd never heard it before, but what it means is it's an ancient Greek word for, the meaning is to describe. So what you're doing is with an ekphrasis writing or an ekphrasis art is you're putting them together so that the words complement the art and the art completes the words. And it all comes together in an ekphrasis poetic way of presentation. And her words are just lovely. I love this. When she says, she calls the writing and the art as twin arts. The twin arts of literature and art spring from the same impulse. And here's the beautiful phrase. They echo and enlarge each other. So I hope that when you see the image and then when you hear the words and they echo each other and they fit together and they suddenly bring each other out and explode the meaning, then you have experienced an ekphrasis moment. So be proud of yourself for knowing how to put those things together and bringing it together. They are twin arts, literature and art. I just love that. Well, actually, Be Artful didn't start out at all like this. Be Artful, David Turner and I, and you'll get to see his magic in just a few minutes. But Dave Turner and I worked together on some books before and different things, and he's a fabulous digital artist. And so he was very patiently helping me try to put together a book of writings for my grandchildren. Okay, we've all got things we want to make sure they've heard, or stories they about your family, so it was time for a memoir for 6 granddaughters. I thought, this is it. So I struggled with what to put in it and how to put images with it and what to do. And very patiently, David waits and waits and waits. And then one day he says, be artful. Be artful. And be artful at whatever you do, because the world is altered by art. That became the theme. That became what we were going to work on. Now I had it. So excited. Now I could really focus in on putting photography, which was an art I had worked on 30 years earlier and gone to school and learned how to do my digital camera and learned how to do Photoshop and make my photographs become art. So we got together and through a lot of, what would you call it? Trial and error, Dave? How would you describe this orchestration of
orchestration is a good word.
Okay. But tell them a little bit about how the book came about.
Well, when we finally arrived at Be Artful, I had to remind Rita that she had this incredible catalog of all these beautiful images. One of them you can see right there. But we started looking at that, and then I reminded her that she's got all of these beautiful writings. And we started picking out the ones we liked, and then we started seeing how they felt putting them together. And once we got to that, once she discovered ekphrasis, we were off and going. And the fun thing about Rita is I can say, this is fabulous, and I can also say, that's terrible, let's not use that.
Back to the drawing board.
And the wonderful thing about Rita is she does not rest until it's right. And so much time and energy and love went into this book. It was really a joy putting it together, and I think it shows. This is by far her best work. But it was really fun because I was exploring her old computer. Like, I found some things. She's like, "Wow, I haven't seen that in 20 years." And so we just stayed at it, and we continually refined. You know, we love this, but we love this better. This one's better. Let's put it here. It was a back and forth, round and round for quite some time, but it was worth it.
God really brings people together. He puts you in the right place at the right time with the right people. And that was really an exciting thing to keep working at it until we had it right. Because David is a writer, he's an editor, he's a book designer, and what you're going to see here very soon is that he's an animator. Did you think you were going to be seeing an animation today? Well, you are, and you are really in for a treat. So, bringing us back to Shabbat. Take a deep breath. Relax and enjoy the Shabbat of being artful. We'll start it now, Dave.
Sure.
Okay. So just relax. You are in for a magical treat. I'll close with a quote from Eugene Delacroix. The first merit of a picture is to be a feast for the eyes. So I hope you have feasted this morning and enjoyed. Have we lowered everybody's blood pressure this morning? That's a goal. So we have time for questions if anybody is interested in. Yeah.
The thing you read earlier about echo and
Mhm.
something, repeat that again.
Yes.
You know where it is.
I can find it right here. Okay, ekphrasis is an ancient Greek word to describe. The twin arts of literature and art spring from the same impulse. They echo and they enlarge each other. So they feed each other. One makes the other better. So,
I feel
is
like
that what
that's what you and David were doing.
Well, that was our goal and that was our hope. Yeah.
That was part of the fun of it, is they elevated each other. Individually, they were, the words were beautiful, the images were beautiful, but bringing them together really seemed to elevate it.
Okay. And I don't understand that digital stuff at all. So,
Well, he is a true digital genius, and and I'm very, very privileged to be able to have David to coach me through all this and help me see how to get the art better.
Yeah.
I think if we keep bringing it up, just a little notch better, a little notch better, a little notch better.
And that's the beautiful thing about Rita. If you know her energy is boundless. And she doesn't stop until it's right. And one of the things that has always inspired me about Rita is she is always seeking to get better. She's always learning new techniques. She's trying new things. She's always moving forward. And I just find that delightful in anybody, and especially Rita.
Thank you, Dave. He's the real genius. Yes, Carol.
Yes, I thought it was, I felt it was worshipful.
Mhm.
It felt worshipful and peaceful. And I
Good.
loved that music, we didn't address the music element of it, but.
The music was beautiful.
David found just the right music. He did the research to get the classical pieces that fit just exactly the way he wanted them to. So that was a gift in itself, just to find the music. Yeah.
So Rita, when you're out with your camera,
Uh-huh.
what draws you?
Oh, what draws me to a flower? Well, early on, I loved working with telephoto or macro lenses. So a macro lens will allow you to get right in as close as you possibly can. And what I'm really fascinated with photography is how close and how clear can I get that image with these big lenses. So it takes special equipment, just like with anything, really. But I find that I guess they start talking to me. The flower starts saying, what do you want the center? Do you want the petals? That one image that's got, it is a hibiscus, I believe. The one that's got the teardrop on it, Dave.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one. Oh, this one. Breathing in, breathing out.
That's the last.
The daily rhythm of life.
Last part of life.
The first act of living and the last act of life. So finding a way to capture that moment, that's a moment in time, to find that water drop just rolling down that leaf at just the right moment. It may take 30 photographs to get the one or more even. You never know how many times a photographer is going to take the picture before he gets just the right one that he's looking for. But this is a petal from a pink hibiscus that was in my backyard. And I don't know what took me out there that morning right after. I almost always go out after a rain and see, and as you'll see, there are quite a few in here that have water drops. And there's always a secret in a water drop, because when you get close enough to photograph it, you get to see through it and what's on the other side. So that's a real thrill. And you don't even know it until you bring it back into the computer. You don't see it while you're taking it. You only see it after the fact. So that's kind of fun. Thanks for that question, Susan.
You should visit Bushart Gardens.
Pardon?
You should go to Bushart Garden.
Yes, I would. Well, I love, some of my photographs were taken from Atlanta Botanical Gardens and Cheekwood, of course, and my backyard, just wherever I could find what I'm looking for.
I thought the one talking about dancing
Uh-huh.
and the flower with the tendrils just looked like a ballerina.
That happened to, I took that in Atlanta at the Atlanta Botanical Gardens, and it's an orchid. The flower itself is an orchid, and in reality, it's about that big.
No, really?
That the orchid itself is this tiny little beautiful bloom, but it's the camera lens that allows you to get close enough on that tiny little orchid to then bring it back into the computer and explode. It can be made into a billboard with the right equipment. There's a term called RAW, taking raw photography, which gives you thousands and thousands of pixels for one little picture. So if you take it in that format, in that raw format, then David could come in it with it, and if it needed to be on a billboard on the highway, it would be clear enough to be seen. The technology is just amazing, what can be done. But anyway, that thank you for your question, because it was just a little tiny orchid.
Have you by any chance taken any magnolias this year?
Not this year, but I have some in my catalog. Yeah. You know, that's interesting that you said that, because there's one in here. I think there's one in the book that's a magnolia. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Oh, there we go.
During the ice storm, we have a magnolia tree, and it was just laying down with ice. We thought, oh no, the tree's gone. Well, it's been the most beautiful tree this year.
Yeah. You know, that's interesting. There's a lot of trees that have come back better. The ice storm just thought they were going to kill those trees. They didn't do it. May I read you this one, Insight?
Yes.
This is a magnolia blossom. This was taken at Cheekwood. And this I loved because it got right inside there. You really focus in on the inside. With insight, look deeper. Think harder. Ask questions. And engage in the unknown. Love the light and wonder about the darkness. Be compelled by mystery, comforted by balance, and enjoy the imbalance. Work through the tension, find the message, and be touched emotionally. Be energized by beauty, surprised by a hidden meaning, and at peace with a restful image. With insight, be blessed by the life-giving experience of it all. Yeah, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, as you were saying those things, and particularly about the ice storm and the magnolias, the thought came into my mind, as it has since that really cold snap. The power of God is stronger than the power of death. And that is
And what he gave us.
in our belief in the resurrection.
Yeah. I think we all learned some lessons through that ice storm. You know, struggling or beautiful, both. Yeah.
I just want to say, I've known Rita since our oldest, which is 51 years old now, about 10. And I helped her out at Hillwood.
There you go.
The swim parents. We're swimming. And when she talked with her flower art, I had a party for Bill and I after we got married at my house. And Rita did a cake that was roses all the way around the cake, the layered cake. It was all live roses, which was absolutely gorgeous. But not only was it gorgeous, is 3 other people took that idea when they got married and used the same concept that Rita had presented with the roses at our wedding cake.
Thank you.
Outstanding person. You have really blossomed.
Well, it takes help. Have to dig around, find just the right people that God puts in front of in your path.
Rita, can we ask Dave a question?
Of course.
And that is,
David, why don't you come up here and talk to
can
me?
you tell us a little bit more about your digital art?
I can, and I actually have another piece that looks like we've got time for. I'll show. Rita and I did an exhibit, actually a couple of them, a number of years ago, called Transformations. And I took some of Rita's beautiful photographs and I digitally transformed them into mandalas. Mandala is a Sanskrit word that basically means circle. Mandalas are symbols of wholeness and unity. And my favorite example that we find in the world are the rosary windows we see in cathedrals. So what I'm going to show you is a reminder that of the sacred geometry in all things, which is another way of saying God is in all things. I learned a long time ago that when your work speaks for itself, don't interrupt it. So I'm going to be quiet and show you the video. I use a program called Adobe After Effects, which is essentially Photoshop across time.
Okay.
And I use Photoshop, After Effects, and a number of plugins for that. And just for context, so I would go into After Effects and say, do this
Okay.
over this time.
Okay.
And so I would set it
You
up.
make the decision.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And then I would say render, and that's the process where the computer takes my instructions and creates the video. So I rendered this 42 times before I was happy with it, and each render took approximately 35 hours.
Oh,
Oh my gosh, wow.
Now, part of the
You
secret to
get too
that,
much time on your hands.
well, part of that is I had 5 other computers to work with.
The whole kaleidoscope effect.
Yes.
Yeah, it reminded me of looking at a
Yeah,
kaleidoscope.
kaleidoscope.
And that's my other favorite mandala is a collage.
Yeah.
Probably close to 1,000 hours went into creating that.
Wow, so how'd you choose the music?
Actually, the music was something I commissioned a fellow to do for another video I'd done years before. And it's such a beautiful piece, everybody knows it. And I wanted something that was familiar, that would draw you in. My work is about taking a quiet moment and being in the moment. We have so much noise in our world today with the phone, the text, the email, the radio, the TV, throw in some AI. We've got stuff coming at us all the time. And our society is about go, 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 more, more, more. We are not human doings. We are human beings. And my goal is to help us remember who we are, to stay in touch with who we are, be in touch with God.
That's beautiful.
I have one more if you want to see it. It's short,
How short?
like 3 minutes. Or we can stop
I
there.
think we have, Rita has a number of books, of her books in the back. If you want to take a look at those, we have our refreshments in the back. And I don't think we have time to do that.
Okay,
and get
that's fine.
church on time if you haven't been already.
We can do both together at the same time.